Hi, my name is Les, and I love to embellish board games. In this episode, I'll be going over how I choose the various elements to add to a re-theme. So this project started about 5 years ago. I had been a fan of the movie Labyrinth since I saw it in the theater, I think around 1986, and I always liked the 3D sculpture of Bowie that was comprised of 3 separate rock pieces. After years of looking for a replica of this statue, and with the onslaught of 3D printing, I decided I need to make my own. I didn't know how to sculpt in 3D, so I researched free software available online, and I ended up playing around with Tinkercad and produced my own version. I started looking for any files I could use for the re-theme, and on Thingiverse by Wyndham Graves, there is a collection of 3D maze tiles, which I thought would work perfectly. The printer we had would have taken way too long to print all the 50 corridor pieces for the Labyrinth. So that's the main reason I shelved the project for a few years. After we upgraded the printer 2.5 years ago, I decided to revisit this re-theme. Here are 3 stills from the movie that show the ball and obelisk design elements that I thought would be nice to add to the existing 3D files that I found online. Again, on Thingiverse, I was able to find some details to match the photos. The ball joint I had downloaded a while ago, so I'm just using the ball section. And there's the actual door knocker from Labyrinth, and I'm going to cut off a piece of the obelisk. My idea with the 3-piece Bowie statue was to incorporate them into different tile sections, so that when the Labyrinth moves, the Bowie statue will sometimes align itself, and you can see his face from time to time. It's this added wrinkle which I think adds greatly to the re-theme, because it matches the fact that Bowie's face appears every now and again throughout the movie, and so I think it's a nice effect. Here you can see everything printed, including the door knockers and the ball joints. Next up is simply gluing the printed ball pieces and the door knockers. I found 3 of the 4 main characters online, and I'll credit that at the end of this video. All but Sarah, which I just used a generic model of a teenager with jeans and a t-shirt. Here you can see just how messy the table is while I'm working on various projects. I'm usually working on more than one project at the same time. It's usually a case of making sure that when I do prints that I can nest smaller pieces in with the larger ones and making use of time that way. I printed a couple extra pieces in order to test out paint schemes for the walls. So I need to find a base of some kind for me to glue the permanent pieces of the labyrinth in place. And so I'm just looking for preferably a square-shaped board that would serve that purpose. And also something that's, very clean and something that I can paint and smooth out with no problem. I decided on a more stylized look for my version of Labyrinth. So I thought I would paint sort of in a splotchy kind of method in order to make it look kind of stone-like. And so for the base, I thought it'd be kind of neat, since it's a nice clean white base board, just to paint in the middle so that you can see the sort of messiness extend past the edges of the labyrinth itself. And as tiles are going to get moved back and forth, I think it would be kind of neat in order to have some scratches show up over time, and that kind of will simulate the idea that these huge sections are actually moving and are grinding against the floor. I decided to just use the upper torso section of the Goblin King and cut him out and sit so he can be situated sort of overlooking the board. And I really like the fact that this sculpt has the character holding the crystal ball, because that kind of ties in with all the ball motifs that were in the film and that I have decided to emulate by gluing various balls around the tops of the walls. That way, it's almost like the Goblin King is watching our every move, as he does in the movie, actually. Now, the model of Jareth came in multiple pieces, and because I was blowing up and just using the torso section, I had to print each section separately. And so I just, once that was done, glued them together and positioned him on the corner. Luckily, my measurements were pretty good, and so he's in place there. And you can see I painted him again using the same gray and trying to get a stone-like effect. So all that remains are the objective cards, the objective tokens, and the replacement pieces for the wands, as well as the 10-point bonus tokens. I'll be using the rule set from the 2003 edition of Labyrinth, which was using the Lord of the Rings license. And in that version, the objectives were based in chronological order of the story beats from the movies. So I'll be doing that, except of course I'll be using the Labyrinth film. And in that version as well, each player had a magic wand and would get a new one 2 more times during play. And with that magic wand, you could discard it in order to move again immediately. I feel that this actually makes more sense in terms of retheming, because in the movie, the character Sarah was mesmerized by a bunch of these sort of magic visions that were inside these crystals or bubbles. And I figure it kind of makes sense that all the characters could possibly be facing similar images and similar enchantments. So within the game, it makes sense to me that once a player receives one of these visions, that by discarding them, it means symbolically that players' characters are overcoming the visions, and therefore they're able to move again immediately. The final touch, I think, is to actually put the name Labyrinth on the edge of the board. Since it's about 2 inches thick, there's certainly room for that. I've decided to use a holographic vinyl, which kind of looks magical and changes under different lighting conditions. And so this is showing everything complete. And I hope you enjoyed this project. It was certainly a long time coming for me to finally complete it. So thanks for watching.